Some students struggle with APA citations. Specifically, what is an article title and what is the journal title, and why are there different capitalization rules for those? Also, a lot of people end up copying and pasting citations, like suggested citations, from places like PubMed. The problem is, most of the time, medical journals use AMA or like Chicago different types of citation guides than APA. So if you need to format something in APA and you're struggling, this video may help. So what I'm going to do is I just pulled up two random articles in PubMed, and I have a Word document open beside it, and I'm going to show you how to use the resources in PubMed to correctly cite those two example articles in APA 7th edition format. Hopefully this will be helpful for you. So again, these are just some random articles, but whenever you find something in PubMed, this is what it's going to look like. And so many people just want to go click this cite button and they're like, awesome, copy, paste, move on. If you need APA citation, the problem with that is this is obviously not APA citation. How do I know it's not? Because look at where the date is located. In APA, the date is supposed to be immediately following the author listing. So if you see authors and then you see a title and there's no date there, that's not the right format. Even if you go to this little format button and you click APA, sometimes this is not correct. In fact, I already see an error just looking at this real quick. Don't rely on those citation guides to do it for you. If you know what you're doing and you do it correctly the first time, then you're not going to have to worry about having points on assignments taken away because you didn't double check something correctly. So first of all, over on my Word document, I'm going to go ahead and change my font to Times New Roman, size 12. I'm going to go ahead and turn double spacing on, and I'm going to go ahead and center and type references in bold because I'm going to have more than one reference. And that should be bolded and centered with no colon or semicolon or any other punctuation behind that. And then I want to set my hanging indentions so that I know that we are going to be formatted correctly. There's multiple ways you can do this, but I'm going to click on this little paragraph button, and where it says special, I'm going to click hanging and then OK, and now I'm correctly set up. So first of all, I'm only going to do two of these, so this isn't going to be a super in-depth discussion for sake of time. So my first article I have to show you is written by Cambridge et al., and it's from 2023. And the third one I pulled up is from LeBrage, and it's from 2027. So I need to know I have to put these in ABC order based on the first author's last name. So here I have L, and here I have C. So obviously the C is going to go first. So I need to type this one in first. One quick note, we never change the original order of authors as they appear in PubMed or on the article itself. These authors are listed in this order for a reason based on the publisher and the authors. So we're not going to mix those up. So we're going to get started with our authors. So I'm going to type, since I'm typing this and videoing it, I'm probably going to have some typos, but I will do my best. So I'm typing note, I'm not putting any full first names or middle names. It's only first initials and middle initials if they are available. Like here I go, typing in correctly. Okay, so this is my author listing. There are 4 authors. All 4 of them will be included. I have put last name, comma, initial, period, comma, last name, comma, initial, period, comma, etc. In between the last 2, I'm going to put the ampersand, and that is my author listing. Notice that the 4th author does include a middle initial. The others do not, so we're not going to make them up. If they exist, then we're going to put it. If not, you just leave it alone. Then we're going to put the date. So how do I know on PubMed what the date was? It's going to be up here in this line. It says 2023 September. So I can format this one of 2 ways. I can either just put 2023, or I could put 2023, comma, September. That is up to you. Either way is technically correct. So I'm going to go ahead and put September though. So then I need to put the article title. So real quickly, because sometimes people get confused on this. And if I explain it in a simplistic way, it's going to help you remember the capitalization rules as well. So consider you are at a grocery store and you are standing in the checkout line. What do you typically see beside you in the checkout line at many grocery stores? Magazines, all kinds of different magazines. You might see Elle, Cosmo, you might see some National Enquirer, you might see Hot Rod. There's so many different kinds of magazines that you might look over and see. What is included inside each of those magazines? Articles, different articles on different topics. So the articles inside of the magazine are smaller. They're small bits of information meant to entice the reader. The bigger publication is the magazine. So it's going to have a bigger title. Small article inside, small title. Big magazine, big journal, big title. So if we go for that perspective, it's going to help us remember a common mistake that people typically make when capitalizing for APA. So this big bold thing right here is actually our article title. That's the small thing inside of the journal. So we're going to capitalize this using sentence case. That means we're not going to capitalize every word. We want the words to be smaller because this is smaller. So there are 4 things that we would capitalize in a journal article title like this. The first word of the article is always capitalized. Even if it's a or the, some sort of article like that, you're going to capitalize it. The second thing we always capitalize is the first word of a subtitle if one exists. And in this example, there is a subtitle. Often the subtitles are broken apart by colons or hyphens, dashes, that kind of thing. So I would capitalize entry, and I'm going to capitalize A because that's the first word of a subtitle. The third thing that we would capitalize if it's present is an acronym like CPR, NICU, COVID. Those things would be capitalized, all caps for acronyms. Finally, if there is a proper noun or adjective present, then we would also capitalize that, such as French or South Korean or Brazilian. Then those words are adjectives that are proper, so we would capitalize. So I'm going to go ahead and type out this title. Note how my word automatically moved the subsequent line over by 1/2 of an inch to the right. That is your hanging indent. I didn't have to press enter, it just automatically did that. Okay, so there's my title. The only 2 words that I capitalized were entry, the first word, and A, the second word, the first word of the subtitle. So now we have our small article title. The next thing is going to be the big journal title. So in PubMed, if you're looking at this, you're going to see that your journal title is typically hyperlinked and it is abbreviated up at the top. The problem with this is APA does not allow for abbreviated journal titles. So we can't put Nurse Educ today. That's not the full article title. We have to put the full title. So typically, though it probably won't work here, if I'm in this window, if I hover over this, which it worked, if you hover over the title and don't click on it, it pops up the whole title. So the whole title of this is Nurse Education Today. So that's what I have to type. Note that it is not capitalized correctly. This is the bigger journal, just like the bigger magazine that you see in the checkout line. The smaller articles inside are capitalized with sentence case, but because this is the bigger journal, it's going to be capitalized in title case. That means all big words of the article, the journal title should be capitalized. The exceptions to that are going to be words like a, for, of, the, that are not the first word. So in this instance, Nurse Education Today, all of that's going to be capitalized. We also need to italicize it. So I'm going to type in italics, Nurse Education Today. I'm going to leave my italics on, and now I need to put my volume number, which is always italicized. So in PubMed, where is my volume number? It's going to be this little number right here, 128. That's my volume number. So that's what I'm going to do right here. So then I can turn italics off. If your journal has an issue number, then you would open up parentheses and put your issue number here. This one does not, so we're not going to put that. So what I can tell from this is that this is an electronic article. How do I know that? Because there's no page range. What I see after the issue, the volume is this number. That's an electronic number for an electronic article. So instead of putting like page 13 to 26, what we're going to do is we're going to put this number string. So I'm going to type it in, not in italics, just like it shows, and there we have it. So the last thing on this is going to be my DOI, my digital object identifier. The good news is if I'm working at a PubMed, this is as easy as a couple of clicks of the button. So see right here where it says DOI and it's got a number string. We have to include the DOI as a URL. If I right click over this on a PC and I click copy link and then I come over to my paper and paste it, there it is. Okay, so now that is the correctly formatted hyperlink for this DOI, and I'm finished with the citation. So I'm going to click enter, and it automatically brings me back over to the left page margin. So now we're going to go to the second one. I'll move through this one a little bit quicker. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 authors. That means all 6 of them will be listed. So I'm going to go ahead and type those in, following the same rules as earlier. We will not ever put full first names or middle initials. We will not ever put credentials like RN, PhD, MD, those types of things do not appear here either. So as I type, this brings up an interesting situation. Sometimes you will have authors from different countries that have special symbols attached to their names. And you are able to do that within Microsoft Word. You just have to go to symbols, like an insert symbol, and you are able to put the different accents and different abbreviations, symbols in those. Okay, so I am now finished with my author list. Now the date is October 2017. I'm just going to put 2017 here. Why did I do that? This one has a volume number and an issue number. You can see 26.5, that means volume issue. So I don't necessarily have to put the month for this because it already has an issue number. On the previous one, it does not have an issue number. It's just the journal volume number, and there's no page numbers. So it is helpful in those situations to put the month. If in doubt, you can just put the month for every time. So I'm actually going to do that. So now we have our article title. This one is just going to have the first word capitalized because none of the other rules that I mentioned earlier are existing. There are no subtitles, there are no acronyms, and there are no proper nouns or adjectives. So now I need to turn on my italics and I need to figure out what the full title of this journal is. Again, it's hyperlinked up here. If I hover, it shows that it is, let me click on this window. It is the Journal of Mental Health. Now you see how it says Abingdon, England? We don't need to put that. You don't have to put the location of the publisher. So we're just going to type in Journal of Mental Health. All of those words will be capitalized except for the of because it's a small word. Usually the rule of thumb is if it's 4 or fewer words like from, of, the, we're not going to capitalize that. Journal of Mental Health, keep italics on. Now we have a volume and an issue. So with italics still on, I'm going to type the volume, which is 25. Then I'm going to immediately turn off italics, but I did not put a space. And I'm going to type my issue number inside of the parentheses. Then I'm going to put the page range citation, page range, which is 471 to 480. So I'm going to type that fully here. And then I'm going to right click on my DOI, copy link, and paste. And there are my 2 references ready to go. So note, let me go back to the previous one and show you what was wrong here. If I clicked on Cite and I made sure it was on APA, you will notice that the the journal title is not capitalized correctly. Okay, that is the only issue with this. Otherwise, it was correct, but that's a mistake. So, if you feel like you understand the rules for citations well enough, you can copy and paste this over, but you need to make sure your hanging indents are set up correctly, that this is double spaced, and that you fix any errors that may be available. The same thing here. I haven't pre-screened this one. So I need to change it to APA, and then I need to look at it, and clearly this is not capitalized correctly, and I do not need this Abingdon, England there as well. So I would just need to double check that when I copy and paste. And depending on the program, sometimes when you copy and paste, your italics don't transfer over. So you would have to turn that on as well. So hopefully this is helpful in explaining how to find what you need in PubMed, how to properly follow the APA citation rules through PubMed, and a couple of little helpful hints on how to remember capitalization rules for both the article, which is smaller, so smaller capitalization, and the journal, think magazine, like bigger, so it's bigger punctuation. So hopefully this has been helpful at making you more proficient in your APA formatting.